All right, open up your book to page 202 in Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. We're going to complete the first box of chapter 37. Here it is. We have figurative language. It says, a wave of longing washed through her and a dryness caught in her throat that the tea could not moisten. It asks what type of figurative language this is. Well, the longing is washing through her. That's an action that a human does. A human washes things. So it's giving this feeling of longing a human-like characteristic. So this is an example of personification. So in number 1, we can write, this is an example of personification because the author is giving emotions or longing human-like qualities. Press pause to write down the answer and play when you're ready for number 2. Number 2 says, what is the author trying to communicate by using this phrase? Well, if we go back to page 202, the sentence before says, Min Lee suddenly thought of Ma and Ba. A wave of longing washed through her and a dryness caught in her throat that the tea could not moisten. So this lets me know she felt this longing or this wanting when she thought of her parents. And so now I'm thinking she probably misses her parents or she is homesick. Write down your answer for number 2 and then track the vocabulary. Number 1 is hospitality. It's when you host people over at your house. You are really friendly. You usually have a meal, you give them something to drink. That represents picture number 2. The second word is merriment. It means gaiety or fun. So when you get, usually merriment is described around the holiday season. People get really excited about celebrating the holidays. That represents picture number 1. And lastly, ancestors. That's a person in your family that's lived before you. It usually refers to someone older than your grandparent, like your great-great-grandparent. And that's why we have this third picture in black and white. Looks like it's from a really long time ago. So now we are on page 203. We're reading chapter 37, and we're going to use our CSPS plus T strategy to figure out what lesson did the village of Moon Rain teach Min Lee. The next morning, Da'afu shook Min Lee awake. Wake up, Sleepy, Da'afu said, pulling her up. Come on, we want to show you something. Yes, Afu said, hurry. So now I know, Min Lee is in this chapter. This is not one of the chapters that's told from Ma and Ba's perspective, but this is Min Lee, so we're going to stop and think about who is Min Lee and what is she like. We know she was a poor girl from a village, and she left her village to go find the old man of the moon so that she could change her fortune. Press pause to write down your answer and press play when you're ready for the setting. Second paragraph says, Min Lee followed them out of the house and through the streets. It was almost as if there were a parade, for all the family was coming out of their houses and following. Min Lee hadn't realized Da'afu's family was so large. There were aunts, uncles, cousins. The home behind the red gate doors was really a village of relatives. As Min Lee ran around through the open doors, she stopped and grinned, because there, waiting on the stone ground, was Dragon. Let's pause for a moment. Where is Min Lee? Well, we know right now she's in the village of Moon Rain, and she's there because she stopped there. She stopped in the village of Moon Rain on her way to Never Ending Mountain, where she's going to find the old man of the moon. Press pause to write down your answer and play when you are ready to pick back up. We're on page 204, and we're at the part that's about to describe Dragon. He was strong and smiling, sitting straight and alert. There was no daze in his eyes and no foul blackness on his body. In fact, except for 4 pale raised scars on his arm, he looked exactly as he did before they met the green tiger. "You're okay," Min-Li said, and she hugged him. Let's go to box 2 for the problem. What obstacle has Min-Li encountered on her journey? Well, we know Min-Li and Dragon were attacked by the green tiger, and Dragon suffered from the poison. Min-Li went to get help from the village of Moon Rain, and now Dragon is better. But the obstacle they encountered was Min-Li and Dragon were attacked by the green tiger, and Dragon was poisoned. Now we know he's okay. Let's keep reading to figure out how Min-Li responds to the people in the village and how they respond to her. "Of course," Dragon said to her, grinning with happiness. "I told you that dragons heal quickly." "Yes, they do," Agong said from beside her. After the poison left him, his wounds healed almost immediately. Min-Li was so happy to see the dragon that she didn't notice that most of Da'afu's family were surrounding them in awe. "A dragon," she heard one small boy whisper. "A real one." "We told you so," Da'afu murmured to their cousins. "See?" "Unfortunately, friend dragon," Agong said loudly so that all could hear, "you are too large for us to show you proper hospitality inside our home." "That's okay. We should leave soon anyway," Min-Li said, and turned to Da'afu. "If you should still show us the way to Never-Ending Mountain." "Of course." They grinned, and Amma said, "Yes, you should leave as soon as you can. The sooner you leave, the sooner you can return to your parents. That would be for the best." Agong nodded when he heard Amma's words. "Breakfast then," he said, "and then we will see our new friends off." So even though the rocky land was cold and windy, the family brought their breakfast of warm rice porridge out to eat. No one wanted to miss a moment of looking at a real dragon. Amma led a large iron pot rolled out on a rough wood platform by two of Da'afu's uncles in front of the dragon. The pot was steaming and full, and Min-Li recognized it as the medicine tea. An aunt carried cups of tea on 2 trays balanced on her shoulders with a stick for anyone to take. Min-Li carefully reached for the cup. The fragrant aroma was too tempting to let pass. "We should call this drink medicine," an uncle said. "It's too delicious, and now there are no more green tiger, there is nothing for it to cure." "Maybe we should call it well tea," Afu laughed, "since the green tiger is down in the well." "No," Agong said, "we want to remember our friends, not our enemies." "We should call it Dragon Well Tea," Dafu said, "because it made the dragon well." The family all cheered at that, and there was a look of softness in Dragon's eyes that Min-Li had never seen before. He was unused to kindness, she realized. He had spent most of his years alone and trapped in his flightless body. Too soon, breakfast was over, and Min-Li was packing her possessions into the yellow silk bag the king had given her, while Amma tied supplies onto the backs of Afu and Dafu. "Just in case," she said, slipping in their simple food of rice wrapped up in leaves and salted boiled eggs. "Bring Min-Li to Never-Ending Mountain and then come right home." Agong put his hands on Min-Li's shoulders and said, "You're a brave girl, Min-Li, quick and clever, but you have been away from home too long. Go as quickly as you can." Amma wrapped her warm arms around Min-Li, then brought out a warm jacket. "For you," she said. "We made it while you were sleeping. Your dress is too thin for the mountain." So this is the part I really want you to pay attention to. The jacket was multicolored, made of large patches sewn together, some dark blue, some deep purple, a few bright red. Min-Li smiled thankfully. Already the cold wind was chilling her, but she was hesitant to ask these people for anything since they had already given her so much. As she put it on, she marveled at its warmth. The fabric looked like plain cotton, but she felt as warm as if she had put on thick fur. So how did the village respond to Min-Li? They noticed that she was cold. They wanted to help her on her way to Never-Ending Mountain, and so they made a warm coat for her. They made a warm coat for Min-Li so that she could get to Never-Ending Mountain. Pause, write that down for 3B, and then press play when you're ready. And we know it says for 3A, how did Min Lee respond? She smiled thankfully. She was thankful for the jacket they had given her. That's going to help her on her way to the village. Let's go then, Da'afu said, and the boy swung up his arm in excitement. It was only then that Min Lee noticed a large gash missing from his sleeve. She looked at the sleeve of her new coat and the bright red patch that made it, and she gasped. Goodbye, Da'afu's family waved. As they waved, Min Lee saw each of them had missing material in their sleeves. So we can add that to the Village of Moonray's response. Not only did they make her a jacket, they made her a jacket from their own clothes. They took pieces of their own clothes to make her jacket. Press pause to write down the rest of it in 3B. And then play when you're ready to add more to 3A. It says, her goodbyes froze in her throat as she realized her warm coat was made of pieces cut from the family's own clothing. Come on, Afu said, her white hand slipping from her notched sleeve to pull at Min Lee. Hurry up. Yes, Dragon said, we should go so the twins can return to their village as soon as possible. Min Lee nodded, and as she waved a grateful goodbye to the village, a sea of ruined sleeves fluttered back at her. So again, our text tells us that she was grateful for what they did to her, did for her. Add that to 3A. And then in number 4, we want to think about what lesson did the Village of Moonrain teach Min Lee. So we want to think about how thankful she is. She's thankful because of their kindness. They were willing to give up part of their own clothes so that she could be warm. And she is thankful for that. So we need to think about what lesson could she learn and what might she do for someone else who needs her. When you're thinking about your lesson, think, well, what has she learned from this village that would help her when she encounters someone in the future who needs something? And then use your chart to write the theme. Last, you can use all of your notes to write a paragraph about the lesson the Village of Moonrain taught Min Lee. And then to finish up, I want you to complete this figurative language foursquare using your notes from chapter 21. Good luck!